Disaster movies have been a staple in Hollywood for decades. What are the best and worst disaster movies of all time?
What's up, movie friends? Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost Podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. Twisters got us in the mood to do an episode on disaster movies. These are films that we grew up watching. They're always big blockbusters. It gives audiences a chance to see big spectacle, whether it be earth-shattering events or sharks flying in the air, ships sinking, a melting core about to break open. Lots of great movies are disaster films.
A melting core?
Yes.
Isn't the core already molten?
It is already molten. I'm not a scientist, man. I'm a movie podcaster.
I think you're talking about the core, which I can't wait to talk about. I freaking love that movie.
Yeah.
There are a lot of movies on this list that I really adore. A lot of these were regular staples on network TV or those TV channels growing up in the 90s and 2000s. I mean, like Volcano, Dante's Peak, freaking Poseidon Adventure is such a banger. The Perfect Storm, Quarantine. There's so many.
Independence Day, baby.
Independence Day. There's so many we're going to talk about. Obviously, we won't get to every single great disaster movie that you love. There might be a few missing from this list. If we missed any, just let us know. Hey, you guys missed this. Unsubscribe. And, you know, something cool, not completely related to disaster movies. We're doing this thing called with Trover Trip, which is a service that helps you facilitate vacations with content creators, podcast hosts, whatever, and their fans. All we need is people to fill out 150 surveys.
We need 24 more.
24 more. All you gotta do, go to our Instagram. There's a link right there to fill out a survey, really quick questionnaire, and then after that, we'll be qualified for the best vacation experiences possible, and we'll take like 20 or 25 of you all on vacation.
It's just a questionnaire of like, where do you want to go? How much can you spend? And what time of year do you want to go? That's pretty much the survey. So fill that out. Links in our bio of our Instagram if you want to come on an awesome vacation with us.
It should be a lot of fun. But let's get into disaster movies and what makes disaster movies so fun and special. I think obviously we see crazy things happening on the internet, on the news, our whole lives. Absurd events happen all over the world. You know, sinkholes are crazy to see. Volcano eruptions, they're nuts and wild. Nature is so powerful. Not all of these have to do with nature. Many of them do. Sometimes it's a man-made disaster that is the plot of a disaster film. But I don't know, there's something about when it's nature that makes it so much more visceral and scary.
Because Mother Nature is still the most powerful force in the world.
She's pretty strong.
And very much misunderstood. And the disaster movie allows for the genre to go from science fiction to survival. It has a big range in terms of the kind of stories that can be told. And like I said earlier, it could be a huge, gigantic spectacle and like the biggest thing you can see on the screen, or it could be something small like a viral outbreak in the contained areas. So the disaster movie allows for a lot of breadth and room for storytelling. Now, we had rules for our list for the disaster movie list.
Yeah, because it's kind of an umbrella genre. A lot
yeah,
of things can fall into there. Originally, we were putting movies like Apollo 13 on there, but that's more of a malfunction movie.
James called them malfunctioning movies.
It is a malfunction movie. Listen, I'm sorry. Anthony put Apollo 13 and Sully on these lists. I'm like, where's the disaster?
Nobody died.
No one died.
He's right. Nobody died.
They saved it. They saved the day. Like they got out of the situations. Those aren't spoilers. Those are real events that movies are based off of. Sorry if you think that's a spoiler.
The malfunction movies.
Believe it or not, Apollo 13, they got back, guys. They
back. They did.
It was a disaster while it was happening, but it's not a disaster movie. You know
You're
what I
right.
mean?
You're right.
If they crashed into the moon, sure.
And also, the disaster has to happen in the movie. It can't be like a post-apocalyptic world because that's post the disaster.
Yeah.
So the disaster has to take place. The event, whatever it is, has to take place in the course of the film. That's our other rule for it.
And, you know, there are elements of massive destruction with a lot of disaster movies, but we don't need enormous scale destruction sometimes. Sometimes we have a movie like Cabin Fever, which is a disaster movie, but it's sort of like the early signs of this outbreak. So it's the beginning of the disaster, but it's still happening during the movie.
And
versus something like Contagion,
Yeah.
which is the whole country's being affected or even more.
Or even The Perfect Storm, where it's just a small contained story. It's a disaster in the film, and it's really only got 7 characters encountering the disaster, but still it's a disaster movie.
So, so that's different than Sully. and that's
It's
different.
more than malfunctioning.
Yeah, that's
It's
not a
disaster.
malfunction. They die.
Spoilers!
It's the perfect storm based on real events.
Not everyone's seen it.
It's based on.
So what if it's based on real events? It's not like everybody's aware of the perfect storm story.
Bro, everyone
Is that
knows.
based on real events?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Google that. I don't know about that.
Perfect Storm.
I'm not sure if that's based on real events.
I swear to God.
Wolfgang Peterson directed it, starring Mark Wahlberg and George Clooney, Diane Lane. Great cast. John C. Reilly's in it. What do we got?
Based on the true story of Andrea Gale, a commercial fishing boat that sank in 1991 during a perfect storm. Bitch.
Whoa, you don't have to throw in the bitch. I was just asking if it was.
The storm produced
I didn't
winds
say you were
of
wrong.
up to 92 miles per hour and,
Whoa.
and waves as high as 100 feet.
Damn.
They were lost at sea while sword fishing 575 miles off the coast of Gloucester, Massachusetts,
guy.
during a series of storms that hit North America in October 28th to
Okay,
November
all right,
4th, 1991.
We got it, man.
The
We
year
got it.
of
We'll talk
1991.
Year of the Lord. We'll get to it, okay?
I just wanted to.
We got it.
Although, it is fictionalized because it's a movie, but
These are all fictionalized.
I'm just trying to irritate you.
So we have a best of list. It's about 50 movies, and we're gonna go from worst to best. So we're gonna finish with what we think is the best disaster movie of all time, and we're gonna start with the worst disaster movie of all time. Would you like to take it away with number one?
Sure. We have Sharknado from 2013. Nature's deadliest killer takes to the skies in the ultimate guilty pleasure as a group of friends try to save the Santa Monica coast from shark-infested tornadoes.
Now this was wasn't it a Netflix movie or was it a Prime movie that came out?
It definitely wasn't
It was a
Prime. It was
streamer.
2013.
It was a streamer.
Was it a streamer?
I believe it was a streamer. I could be wrong,
Let me
but
double check that.
this is just like the ridiculous B pulpy, insanely bad CGI disaster movie. Tara Reid leads the cast, and it's just ridiculous to the point of it's not even really that fun of a watch, and it's really just awful. But they knew how bad it was when they were making it. It's not like they were expecting this to be good. It's a movie about sharks and tornadoes, so it's absurd, but an absolute phenomenon.
It was released digital, but it wasn't a Netflix
It was
production.
VOD.
Yeah, so it was straight to VOD.
Before streamers really took over, it was just you would rent things online.
Yeah.
So it was like a Amazon Prime, and then an Apple
Sci-Fi.
rental. Sci-Fi
Network.
Oh, Sci-Fi Network. Well done, Sci-Fi.
I've actually never seen this movie.
I've
seen clips and stuff like that. It's absurd but hilarious. But I get why people enjoy it, and they made I think 3 of them.
There's a whole franchise.
A franchise of Sharknado movies.
Yeah.
Pretty bonkers. But yeah, let's get into the next one, pal.
We got Pompeii, which came out in 2014, starring Kit Harington. In 79 AD, Pompeii, a bustling port city, stands in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius. Milo, a former slave. That's a weird name for a slave. I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Milo.
I'm a gladiator. My name's Milo.
Yes.
He's a slave and gladiator who has caught the eye of Cassia, a wealthy merchant's daughter. However, their difference in social status is not the only obstacle to their love. Cassia has been promised to Corvus, Kiefer Sutherland's character, a corrupt Roman senator. When the eruption of Mount Vesuvius rains lava and ash down on the city, Milo races to save her before it's too late. I'm sorry, they named a gladiator Milo?
Sure did. Hey, maybe it was a popular baby name back then, Anthony.
Did they check the baby names list?
Were you alive in 79 AD?
I was not.
Exactly. So
Is
you never
Milo
know.
a Latin name?
Probably.
Maybe.
There's probably a good. Maybe it's short for
Milosius.
Milosius. Yeah. Now this movie somehow grossed $150 million at the box office on a $100 million budget, so it wasn't a successful film per se. It didn't really make money back, but people went to go see it.
Yeah.
People wanted to go see this movie. I personally have only seen like half of this movie because it's not really that great. I think just the story is kind of cringe at times. The visual effects are a bit lackluster. And this was actually a co-production between the United States, Canada, and Germany. So 3 countries, international production, and it was filmed in Canada. And I think it's okay. Paul W.S. Anderson directed this.
Yep. Director
Obviously,
of
the Resident Evil franchise. And I think the first Resident Evil movie slaps, man. That movie's awesome. But they sort of just got kind of ludicrous later on in the franchise. I never kept up with them. But this style of this filmmaking it's not quite for me. It's a bit much, but I think they were shooting shots here because it's 2014. They were trying to bring the Swords of Sandals story back to life, I feel like, in Hollywood. They still kind of are. And obviously, Gladiator 2, I think, will reinvigorate it big time for audiences to get that thirst for us back, because we love them, but most people sort of have lost that itch. And Pompeii, it's all right, but it's pretty bad marketing. The posters are pretty terrible. The trailer's pretty terrible. And it's a Pompeii movie, but it's a Gladiator movie. It's just too many things. Like you said, Romeo and Juliet, too many things going on.
Why make it a Gladiator movie? It's a disaster movie. That's right there. This list that we'll get to shows you don't need the lead of your movie in a disaster movie to be like a fighter or a soldier or anything. They could have just made them people in Pompeii dealing with it and would have still done. It probably would have been better. So making it a Gladiator movie, that made no sense at all.
I think the studio was like, but people
What
love
if we make a gladiator in there?
gladiators.
Make him a gladiator. People like Gladiator, right? I think it was a studio decision.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
All right, next up.
He's probably a merchant. They're like, can you make him like a gladiator named Milo?
with abs.
After my son.
After my son. Next up, in 1997, we had Volcano. Speaking of Mount Vesuvius, Volcano tells the story of a massive earthquake that rocks the city of Los Angeles. Emergency Management Department head Mike Rourke, played by Tommy Lee Jones.
That's a great movie.
It's pretty good. I wouldn't say great. It's pretty good. It's number 46 on our list. So, returns from his vacation to help with the city's response. After geologist Dr. Amy Barnes and Hache warns that a volcano may be forming in sewer tunnels, another severe earthquake unleashes the lava flowing underfoot, threatening to destroy the whole city. As the fiery molten rock runs through the streets, Rourke and Barnes must figure out how to divert. They put together the cement blocks to create a path for the lava to pass through, remember? That was awesome. I love it. And I believe Dante's Peak is the scene. Remember the scene where it's the subway station?
Yeah.
And there's a guy, lava started pouring into the train and stopped the train. And the last guy out of the train, he reaches the back of the train, and everybody had jumped out of the back, and he's the last one left, but the lava had like passed too far. And so it's too far for him to jump over the lava. So he jumps into the lava, gets stuck, and starts burning, and then falls inside. It's a great death.
That's pretty terrible.
Great movie death.
What's the counter? There's Dante's Peak, right?
Dante's Peak's on our list, but it's way up ahead.
A little higher.
A little higher.
Now let's get to a director who has a new film coming out this year. Just in this month, coming up in August, I believe.
It's coming up, man.
It's coming
any
up.
minute now.
Starring the great Josh Hartnett in his revival in Hollywood post-Oppenheimer. We're talking about The Happening, which came out in 2008, directed and written by M. Night Shyamalan. An apocalyptic threat to humanity arrives out of the clear blue sky with a series of violent, inexplicable deaths spreading across the country. The cause of the terrifying phenomenon remains unknown, prompting science teacher Elliot Moore. Have you heard about the honeybees?
What about the bees?
What about the bees?
Have you heard about the bees?
His wife, Alma.
Hey, guys. Nothing.
And his colleague, Julian, to try to elude the invisible killer in Pennsylvania's farmland. Soon it becomes clear that no one is safe. This is a movie that had an incredible trailer.
Really cool
People
trailer.
were so hyped for this movie because 2000s, M. Night Shyamalan was one of the biggest directors alive. He still is. He's still a very popular filmmaker, and people are very excited about Trap. But The Happening, no, this is just 10 years off of The Sixth Sense, a couple of years away from Signs, and then the trailer marketed it so well. The first R-rated movie from M. Night Shyamalan. People were like, he's going to go hardcore, and the trailer and the concept revealed a very interesting story of people committing severe suicides, like doing horrible things to themselves with blank faces, blank stares. The mystery shrouded this trailer all across the world. We were all anticipating it, and we all went to the theater. We all saw it. I know a lot of you like this movie. We've heard people say they enjoy it, but most people, it was not for them. It was not for me. I think the script got a little weak. It started strong, but, you know, I love Mark, but he's just not right for this role either as Elliot, the school teacher. Zoe's pretty good in this movie. John Leguizamo is good in this film, but overall, it's not, I think, a great script. The concept's interesting. You know, spoilers, I'm sure you all have seen The Happening, where it's actually the trees are fighting back against humanity and they're killing humans.
Trees and bushes and grass, man.
So they're making humans kill themselves because it's an overall story and metaphor for Mother Nature fighting back against humanity.
It's an okay concept. It was the execution where sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't happen. The rules were not really making any sense throughout the course of the film.
Whatever plot wanted to happen, it worked.
Like when it would make sense for him, like people like New York City or something where it's like overrun with artificiality, then those trees are like killing people. But then like when they're in the middle of nowhere and it's all nature, like nature's not really being threatened. It's like sometimes it kills, sometimes it doesn't kill. Are people immune or are some people not immune? It doesn't really make any sense how the story happens. No pun intended. But The Happening, yeah, it's a pretty weak film in its filmography. I think that after The Lady in the Water and The Happening, he lost a lot of the general audience respect from like just mainstream audiences, the general public. M. Night Shyamalan, after 2 really bad movies in a row, it's like he's not really what he was in the 2000s, early 2000s.
He's coming back, baby.
But I mean, every time he makes a movie, it could be good. I mean, he had a great run. Sixth Sense, The Village, Signs, Unbreakable. That's a really good run.
Those are really good movies.
And then he's made some good movies since The Happening. But again, he is hit or miss. But I have high hopes for Trap.
Trap looks really great. Yeah. I'm very excited about it.
Next up, we have Adam McKay's film Don't Look Up, which was a Netflix release in 2021. 2 low-level astronomers must go on a giant media tour to warn mankind of an approaching comet that will destroy planet Earth. I was extremely excited for this film. I thought it had a great trailer and a really fun concept. And I like the idea of like showing how unserious people are about things and how even like the earth-shattering stakes and mankind life-ending event, people still would joke about it and not take it seriously and not find it very important, because we live in a culture where things are joked about even when they are very serious, and things are taken less seriously than ever before.
I mean, you can just tell the last couple of weeks we've had serious things happen in the world on a global scale in the United States, and within minutes there are memes made about it. Yeah.
So I get what Adam McKay was doing. Ultimately, the film was like pretty disappointing for me. It got a little ridiculous to the point where it didn't even make sense in the absurdist tone that he was trying to create. And I just didn't really love the film and the characters making weird decisions, and it was a little too on the nose as well. It had no subtlety whatsoever.
Another movie that had a great trailer, this trailer was really great. Everyone's looking forward to it. J-Law, Leo DiCaprio, Tyler Perry, Cate Blanchett. The cast was absurd for this film. Mark Rylance, everyone's pretty excited about this, and Adam McKay is such a great filmmaker and showrunner for Succession as well, and
he's not a showrunner.
Well, show creator for Succession. Very, very excited about this movie, but yeah, it was just not it, man. It was too in your face. Yeah. Chalamet's funny in it.
Fucking love fingerling potatoes.
It's just, it was
a letdown for like the talent involved. It was just like, oh, that was it.
Yeah. But let's move on to a Nicolas Cage film, everybody.
Fuck yeah.
Let's talk about Knowing from 2009. 50 years after it was buried in a time capsule, a schoolgirl's cryptic document falls into the hands of Caleb Koestler, the son of Professor John Koestler, played by Nicolas Cage. John figures out that the encoded message accurately lists every major disaster from the past 5 decades and predicts 3 future calamities, 1 a global cataclysm. When his warnings fall on deaf ears, John enlists the help of the prophetic author's daughter and the granddaughter to try to avert the ultimate disaster.
Dun, dun, dun. This is a pretty good sci-fi movie. It's pretty fun, and Nick Cage made 2 movies pretty close in time, in years, Knowing, and then the other film where he actually can see the future.
The one with Jessica Biel.
So, like... I
hated that movie.
Yeah, that one's bad.
I hated the ending.
Knowing's pretty good. It's a pretty fun sci-fi movie made by Alex Proyas. Good special effects. Interesting concept. Didn't fully land its execution, but overall, I think Knowing is a pretty fun science fiction film and disaster movie.
What's the other one called? Is it called Next? No, not Next.
Yeah, Next.
Yeah, a Las Vegas magician who can see into the future is pursued by FBI agents.
He can see like a minute into the future, or like 30 seconds into the future or something. That's his talent.
And then, I won't spoil the ending, but man, the ending really made me upset.
I believe Rose Byrne is the co-lead in Knowing, if I'm
possibly
correct.
Didn't love it. All right, let's get into a classic
Oh, yeah.
from 1972. We're talking about the Poseidon Adventure, which I have not seen since I was a kid. But I remember seeing this on TV back in the day.
like TNT and
starring
stuff.
Gene Hackman, Leslie Nielsen, Shelley Walters, directed by Ronald Name. This was a big hit at the box office, and it's sort of an early Titanic kind of film.
Mm-hmm.
So, en route from New York City to Greece on New Year's Eve, majestic passenger ship the SS Poseidon is overtaken by a tidal wave with the captain dead. Surviving passengers include the passionate Reverend Scott, played by Gene Hackman, and they all band together in the ship's ballroom. The group struggles to avert fires, flooding, structural instability, and mechanical malfunctions as they make their way through a maze of ladders and tunnels in their desperate attempt to escape a watery or fiery grave. This is a really great movie when it comes to practical filmmaking, practical stunts. I mean, what happens is this ship goes underwater and it flips upside down underwater, and there are crazy shots of they literally flip the set upside down and people are flying to the floor from great heights. So great stunt work, great practical filmmaking, lots going on in this movie, not just water, but also fire, explosions, and then everyone's sort of banding together, but also fighting to see who's going to be in charge. There's that hierarchies involved here, great performances, great suspense, and just an all-time banger. They tried to remake it back, I think, in the early 2000s.
In 2006, they made Poseidon, which was a remake. Because the Poseidon Adventure was a big hit and really critically adored and liked by audiences. And then they made Poseidon starring Kurt Russell, which is a remake and just not done as well. And even with the increased technology with special effects and visual effects, they still actually is less impressive looking than the Poseidon Adventure.
Poseidon Adventure is really good, guys. You should check it out. If you're a huge fan of Titanic, honestly, watch Poseidon Adventure. In disaster movies, but also, I guess it's not it's kind of a being stranded somewhere movie because no one knows where you are and no one can locate you.
Yeah, I would say that for sure. Like, it's the same thing as being stranded on a desert island. Yeah. All right, now we got a Sly Stallone movie. This is one we loved as kids. This was on TV all the time. I'm talking about Daylight. A group of armed robbers fleeing the police head for the New Jersey tunnel and run right into trucks transporting toxic waste. The spectacular explosion that follows results in both ends of the tunnel collapsing, and the handful of people who survived the explosion are now in peril. Kit Latera is the only man with the skill and knowledge to lead the band of survivors out of the tunnel before the structure collapses. This is one of Sly's just really awesome action leading roles. A bunch of people, they're trapped in this tunnel, no way to get out. There's kind of a time limit of they got to get out of there, or else it's going to keep collapsing. And then, so Stallone's character, I don't have 100% memory, but he has experience in all sorts of events like this, so he's like the perfect person to lead them. And they encounter, like the Poseidon Adventure, a bunch of trials and tribulations, obstacles, perilous situations, electric wires on puddles and fires and collapsing rock, and they end up journeying through the earth to try and get out underneath from underground in a different exit path. It's a really fun survival movie. Great practical effects, great set design, and overall just a really solid thriller.
Let's get into another 90s movie. Let's talk about Alive, which is actually what the new film Society of Snow was remade from. This is the original version of this story where, stranded after a plane crash in the Andes Mountains, individual members of Uruguay's rugby team respond differently. Group leader Nando, played by Ethan Hawke, tries to keep everyone's spirits up. Medical student Roberto, played by Josh Hamilton, diligently treats cases of frostbite and gangrene. Loose cannon Antonio, played by Vincent Spano, gradually loses composure. Once all available foodstuffs runs out, the group faces a terrible dilemma: eat one or more of their deceased teammates or die. And I haven't seen Society of the Snow yet, but I've seen Alive years ago, and it's a really, really great movie, directed by Frank Marshall, who arguably is one of the better producers all time in the history of cinema. I mean, this guy's produced movies. He does a lot of movies modern day as well as the past. I mean, he was involved with Raiders of the Lost Ark, movies like that. He's done Curious Case of Benjamin Button. He produced the Bourne movies. He's been producing film for about 40 years now, this guy, and he's just got so many goddamn credits. He's an EP on the Back to the Future movies, Land Before Time, Last Crusade EP, produced Empire of the Sun, so he's worked a lot with Spielberg and a lot of contemporary directors as well. It's just crazy how many movies this guy has worked on. Mr. 3000, Signs, Seabiscuit, 8 Below. He directed, did all the indie movies. He even most recently was an EP on Twisters.
He's been in the Spielberg business for a while.
He's been in the making money off movie business for a while.
Kathleen Kennedy as well is his partner.
Which is crazy. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, he was a producer of Jurassic World movies, so it's the Jurassic Park movies as well. It's crazy how much this guy's done, but he directed.
I didn't know he directed.
He directed Alive.
Oh, I didn't know that. Learned something new today.
He's only directed 4 movies. He did this. He did Congo. He did Arachnophobia.
Oh, yeah.
He did something else, too.
Alive, I remember really liking as a kid. And there are images that are stuck. They're like ingrained in my head. Like I remember them cutting the butt cheeks, like the frozen butt cheeks of their dead teammates, and like all the issues that they all deal with. I remember it clearly as a kid. We saw it a few times on TV. This is one that played a lot on like one of those channels. All right, next up we have something from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, San Andreas, in 2015, about that infamous San Andreas fault that everybody's waiting for. The big one. We're all waiting for that big one. When's it going to hit? A seemingly ideal day turns disastrous when California's notorious San Andreas fault triggers a devastating magnitude 9 earthquake, the largest in recorded history. As the earth cracks open and buildings start to crumble, Ray Gaines, an LAFD search and rescue helicopter pilot, must navigate the destruction from Los Angeles to San Francisco to bring his estranged wife, Carla Gugino, and their only daughter, Alexandra Daddario, back to safety. This is like good run-of-the-mill, huge spectacle, tons of CGI, huge disaster movie of a city just being torn to pieces. Really cool special effects and visual effects for 2015. They still hold up really well. The Rock proving himself in a lead role in a gigantic blockbuster. This is one of the early ones where he was the lead of a $100 million movie. Actually, probably more than $100 million. It's a solid film. It's not the best thing ever, but it gets the job done. It's fun watch. It doesn't take itself too seriously. He's a great action lead and proved it with this film.
Let's get into a Roland Emmerich film. Have we done one yet or no?
This is the first one.
First one, we have 2012, which should have come out in 2012, but came out in 2009. How do you not drop that in 2012?
How do you drop that? God.
Or at least 2007 and 2011, I mean, to build the hope that like we all might not be here next year. You better watch this movie. So obviously based off the idea following the Mayan calendar that in the year 2012 there'd be impending doom and the earth had like an expiration date or it would end or something would happen, it would reset or just be destroyed. And it follows characters played by Chiwetel Ejiofor and John Cusack. Now, Earth's billions of inhabitants are unaware that the planet has an expiration date. With the warnings of an American scientist played by Chiwetel, world leaders began secret preparations for the survival of select members of society. When the global cataclysm finally occurs, failed writer Jackson Curtis, played by John Cusack, tries to lead his family to safety as the world starts falling apart. Another movie that had a pretty good disaster movie trailer. Lots going on, really interesting sequences and scenes. You know, I remember they're trying to get on the plane and they have to fly off on a runway that's being hit with, I think, volcano.
The earthquakes
or something.
Breaking apart,
earthquakes, yeah.
And he's flying through the city as like buildings are collapsing.
Yeah.
It looked cool.
Yeah, it looked cool. Overall, for me, it didn't land. It was an okay movie. I'm not the biggest John Cusack fan.
James's least favorite actor is John Cusack.
I'm a huge fan of John Cusack.
Just say it, man. Just say it.
I think he's a talented actor. I don't know, something about him, man.
You just don't like him.
Something about him.
Just don't like him.
He probably doesn't like me either, but I don't know what it is. Something about his face. I don't know, his voice. I don't know what it is, man. This is one of my favorite ongoing jokes in the podcast.
Oh man,
it's been going on for 4 years now.
I think John Cusack's awesome. Sorry, John. Sorry he doesn't like you, John. James does not. But
2012, it's a classic Roland Emmerich film. Disaster. Let's try to escape. It's the most similar, I would say, maybe to The Day After Tomorrow in his filmography.
Yeah,
tone-wise.
Visually, it's got great spectacle, which is why it was so successful. This movie made $800 million this release.
What?
$800 million.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
In 2009, it made $800 million?
$800 million.
That's over $1 billion today.
Yeah. So it was a massive hit.
Are you fucking kidding
It's because
me?
of the trailer. It was a huge spectacle, the earth falling apart, crazy shit happening. It was highly successful, obviously. Ultimately, it had a cool idea for a hierarchical structure and showing elitism in terms of the people who are allowed to survive. In a way, you can phrase it that way. People who we're letting them survive. You know, important people, wealthy people. And Cusack plays basically a pilot. He's trying to get in on that. He's not in that elite society, but he's saving someone who is. So he's trying to get him and his daughter in that bunker to survive. That's an interesting take. It was just the screenplay dialogue is just pretty awful, but the spectacle is really good. The visual effects are fantastic, and overall, this is a really fun movie in theaters and just a massive screen.
I can't believe it made that much money.
Yeah,
That's so much money.
It's probably the most successful movie on this list, except for one big one.
Unless Twister's
second. There's no way Twister's making $800 million, man.
No,
with
Deadpool.
Jinx.
You
But
owe
this
me
is
a Coke.
this is probably the second most successful film on this entire list.
Wow, that's bonkers. Well, it came out in 2009, like I said, but that was the year. It was the 5th highest grossing of the year because there was Avengers, there was Skyfall. What else was there that year?
Wow, yeah. 2009 was a good year.
2009 box office. There was also The Hobbit, An Unexpected
Man of
Journey.
Steel.
Dark Knight Rises. No, Man of Steel was 2013, bro.
Dark Knight Rises was 2012.
Oops. So wasn't the Avengers. So I Googled it.
You were way off. No, what happened was you Googled 2012, not 2009. That's what you Googled.
He's absolutely right.
You got messed up.
He's absolutely right. Oh, but it's funny because it has the movie 2012 is the image for this post.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
So it
That's
got
what
me.
threw you off.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, this must all be the same year.
It's okay. We all make mistakes.
What else came out that year? Lots of stuff.
But 2009?
None of those movies came out.
Harry Potter, Half-Blood Prince, Avatar came out, Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, and then 2012. Big year. Half-Blood Prince made $933 million. Avatar made $2.7 billion. Holy fuck, it made that much money? Oh my god. Holy shit.
And it's still the number one highest grossing movie of all time.
2.7.
Not adjusted for inflation.
Yeah.
Not because that would obviously be what's it called?
Highest grossing? Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind, yeah. Gone with the Wind, adjusted for inflation, would have made $4.4 billion today.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
That's absolutely mind-blowing to me.
It's a lot of tickets.
E.T. would be $3 billion.
A lot of people saw him.
$3 billion.
E.T. is one of the most successful ever, yeah.
But that's crazy, man. How many tickets Gone with the Wind sold?
So, but 2009 was a really good year for film. There are 12 movies that made over $400 million at the box office.
Man, that's pretty fucking...
And there are 8 films that made over $500 million at the box office.
What was the Avengers movie? I mean, the MCU movie that came out that year. Was there one?
2009, there's none.
There was none in 2009 because Iron Man...
Avatar, Half-Blood Prince, Ice Age, Transformers, 2012, Up, Twilight Saga, New Moon, Sherlock Holmes, Angels and Demons, The Hangover, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Squeakquel, Night at the Museum, Star Trek, Monsters vs. Aliens, X-Men Origins, Wolverine. No MCU movie that year.
Was the next MCU movie Iron Man 2, or did they do a Thor or a First Avenger?
Thor the Dark World came out in 2010, I believe.
Thor the Dark World. Was that the
2010 or 2011 for that film?
No, there's just Thor.
Huh?
There's just Thor was first.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Thor was 2010.
Thor had his first movie, then Dark World was a sequel.
Captain America came out. First Avenger came out in 2010.
2011.
Wow, they wasn't. Oh, I think Iron Man 2 came out before Captain America.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. I think
that was 2010.
2010, yeah.
Or 2009, yeah. Something like that. Anyways.
That's crazy because
big
now we
year.
get 7 a year.
Big fucking year. Damn.
Woo.
All right, next up, we have a fucking banger from 2003. This is a movie that we loved. Starring Aaron Eckhart and, I'm sorry, what's her name?
Hilary Swank.
We got The Core. The Core, baby! Geophysicist Dr. Josh Keyes discovers that an unknown force has caused the Earth's inner core to stop rotating. With the planet's magnetic field rapidly deteriorating, our atmosphere literally starts to come apart at the seams, with catastrophic consequences. To resolve the crisis, Keyes, along with a team of the world's most gifted scientists, travel into the Earth's core. Their mission: detonate a device that will reactivate the core. This is a fun movie.
I like this movie a lot.
It's a great concept. It's something we've never seen before. Like, we're going to go into the core. It's also got some great disaster movie elements. There's multiple different things that happen. One of them that I liked is we get this scene in San Francisco on the Golden Gate Bridge where the ozone layer rips open and starts burning everyone and burns that bridge to pieces. And the whole thing collapses because the wire work gets like melted. There's a lot of great elements of disaster movie tropes that we get in the core. We also get a fucking awesome cast, like a motley crew of great actors: Hilary Swank, Stanley Tucci, Bruce Greenwood, Delroy Lindo, Richard Jenkins, Alfred Woodard. It's a fun movie. It wasn't really that big of a hit for the amount of money they spent on it, but I remember really liking it as a kid, and we watched it a few times. We definitely had this on DVD, I believe. But I really liked the movie, and I always really enjoyed watching it. It's got some cheesy special effects now, but in the day, like that looked legit. I thought they were really in the core, man.
Yeah, me too. I like this movie a lot.
Also, you learned a lot about the Earth in this movie.
You did.
And Aaron Eckhart, I think, was a really good lead.
Believable solution to the problem, too.
Yeah.
Moving on to the finest hours in 2016. On February 18th, 1952, a massive storm splits the SS Pendleton in two, trapping more than 30 sailors inside the tanker's sinking stern. Engineer Ray Ibert bravely takes charge to organize a strategy for fellow survivors. As word of the disaster reaches the Coast Guard in Chatham, Mass., Chief Warrant Officer Daniel Clough orders a daring rescue mission despite the ferocious weather. Coxswain Bernie Weber takes 3 men on a lifeboat to try and save the crew against seemingly impossible odds.
This is actually a Disney movie, and it's also a Boston movie guy. Casey Affleck's in it. Chris Pine leads the cast. This is a really solid, underrated movie. It didn't really do that well at the box office for its cost, but it's an overall really solid film. Ben Foster's in it, Eric Bana, Holiday Granger, Kyle Gallner, who's really blowing up, Rachel Brosnahan, before anyone knew who she was, John Ortiz in his early career. Great special effects. It's a cool, like, Disney movies used to be oftentimes about real life heroes, and they did a good job. Boston accents are pretty solid for the most part, although obviously Casey's the only one who's like got a really great one. But Finest Hours is a good movie. I really enjoy it.
Nice.
All right, next up we have, all the way back in 2015, Everest, based on a true story starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Jason Clarke, Josh Brolin, Sam Worthington, John Hawkes, and Robin Wright. What a fucking cast. Woo. On the morning of May 10th, 1996, climbers from 2 expeditions start their final ascent toward the summit of Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth. With little warning, a violent storm strikes the mountain, engulfing the adventurers in one of the fiercest blizzards ever encountered by man. Challenged by the harshest conditions imaginable, the teams must endure blistering winds and freezing temperatures in an epic battle to survive against nearly impossible odds. This is an awesome movie. Tearjerker, really successful, ended up making $200 million. Really well directed by Baltasar Kormakar. Overall, like, it's a great survival movie as well as a disaster movie. They did a lot of practical filmmaking. I've seen behind the scenes, and they really went out there. The actors were freezing their butts off in high climates.
They really shot in Everest?
Not on Everest, but like I believe like around the base of it for some of it. Mm-hmm. But then they built some sets for sure. But so much of it is practical, and they were really in the elements, and it really shows. I really enjoyed the film. I think it's a film that didn't get much attention, or still hasn't gotten much attention. Nobody really talks about it, but I think it's a really solid survival film.
What are other movies that are Everest movies?
Everest movies?
Yeah. I feel like there's a few others. I don't know if they're disaster movies, but
Into Thin Air sounds like a survival movie. Into Thin Air, starring I don't know any of these guys. Christian McDonald, no. It looks like a bunch of movies have been made, but I don't even know any of them.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like there's one that I liked.
Mount Everest?
Yeah.
Do you know what happens in it?
People die.
K2, Siren of the Himalayas.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Everest is like the only major one that I can think of.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I must be thinking of something else. Anyways, let's move on to The Perfect Storm, kid. Came out in 2000, based on a true story, like I said earlier. The film tells the courageous men and women who risk their lives every workday, pitting their fishing boats and rescue vessels against the capricious forces of nature. Their worst fears are realized at sea in Halloween 1991 when they are confronted by 3 raging weather fronts which unexpectedly collide to produce the greatest, fiercest storm in modern history. This is also a tragic but highly entertaining film. It sort of has that adventure quality like Jaws has, and it's about these fishermen who they're out to sea and they don't have a great summer. They don't have a great season of fishing, and George Clooney's the captain of the boat, and he's like, they all come back and they're like, this is all you get for the whole year. So either we wait several months until the next season, or we go back out. But it's going to be dangerous. There's a massive storm coming. And
They're going into a dangerous area.
Dangerous area.
Yeah, where you shouldn't fish.
And the crew all are in agreement that we're take the risk. We need the money. We need to go catch these fish. And they do a great job. They are catching more fish than they've ever caught in their entire careers, and they are making bank. However, the storm comes, and it's inescapable.
It's a perfect storm, guy. It's got a great cast. John Hawkes also in this film. Mark Wahlberg, William Fichtner, Maria Elizabeth Mastrianos, Diane Lane, John C. Reilly. Really great cast. Awesome Boston accents all around. Clooney didn't do one, but everybody else did. Riley's awesome, like he always is. And Diane Lane did a fantastic Boston accent. Great visual effects for the time. I believe it might have won the Oscar for visual effects. But it's an excellent escapist adventure. Huge spectacle. Wolfgang Peterson made this. It's a really fun film.
Super fun.
It's a solid movie.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Deep Impact. Our first asteroid one. Believe it or not, this is the first one. 1998. Starring Elijah Wood when he was little. Tia Leone, Morgan Freeman, Jon Favreau, believe it or not, and Vanessa Redgrave, and Dougray Scott. A comet is hurtling toward Earth. It could mean the end of all human life. The U.S. government keeps the crisis under wraps, but crack reporter Jenny Lerner uncovers the truth, forcing U.S. President Beck to announce his plan. Grizzled astronaut Spurgeon Fish Tanner, Robert Duvall's character, and his team will land on the comet and lay explosives, hopefully deterring the object from its doomsday course. If not, humanity will have to prepare for the worst. If it sounds familiar, it came out 1 year before another film with a very similar plot. This is a great film. It combines survival and escape from calamity with the astronaut space storyline as well. Great visual effects. Morgan Freeman as the president is just fucking awesome. And Elijah Wood is really great in a small role, but he's basically one of the leads of the film for sure. Overall, solid movie, great cast, good story. Nothing we haven't seen before, but at the time it was just really well done and great special effects. Directed by Mimi Leder.
Let's get to a lighter disaster movie, more of a comedic romantic tone. We have Seeking a Friend for the End of the World 2012, starring Keira Knightley and Steve Carell. The announcement of an enormous asteroid will obliterate Earth in less than a month brings the end of a marriage of mild-mannered insurance salesman Dodge, played by Steve, whose wife leaves him on the spot after his bold young neighbor Penny, played by Keira, belatedly delivers a letter from Dodge's former sweetheart. Dodge decides that he must find the love of his life. Before it's too late, Dodge and Penny embark on a road trip that eventually brightens their outlook, if not the world. So it's sort of the world's ending. Let's try to do things. Everyone around the world is trying to either do things that they've never done before, sort of bucket list stuff, as well as there's dangerous things going on. But it's an interesting tone. I think it's pretty fun and light for the disaster
It's
franchise.
A cute movie. Yeah, it's really sweet, and they have a lot of chemistry together, Carell and Keira Knightley. Lorraine Scafaria directed this. She's a really fantastic director. Adam Brody, Melanie Linsky, Connie Britton, Rob Corddry. So it's got a really great comedic cast. And it's just a cute rom-com as well as being a disaster film. And it's about two people who are basically outcasts, and they find a connection, only the connection happens to be right before the end of the world. But it's a very sweet film. Late-night TV host Angela and her cinematographer are following the fire service on a call to an apartment building. But the Spanish police...
Are we sure we want to do this, though? I mean, once we start introducing movies like this, we have to put every zombie movie in here, Anthony.
I think that this is... Okay, I will take this out, but we got to keep that other big one.
Sure. I'll give you the other big one. But if we put Wreck in here, we have to do every zombie movie. Then we have to do every vampire movie. And then it's just, what does the genre mean anymore? Words have meaning, Anthony.
It's not just a malfunction movie.
People will be, I'll be confused. I'll be like, what is it? What is a disaster movie these days?
All right.
I mean, yeah, so Anthony's trying to put malfunction movies in here. He's trying to put zombie movies everywhere in here. I'm like, zombies.
There is a zombie movie.
There is one on here,
but
yes.
It counts.
I'll give you that. I'll give you this one.
I will take out Wreck, and I will trade it for the one that I have near the top of the list. Deal? Okay, thank you.
All right, so Wreck is a great horror movie.
Yeah, check it out.
Great zombie movie, but it's a zombie movie.
It's gone. I erased it.
Thank you. Okay.
Let's get to Dante's Peak, starring Pierce James Bond Brosnan, baby! Volcanologist. Volcanologist, yeah, that's a word. Harry Dalton, played by Pierce Brosnan. And Mayor Rachel Wando, played by Linda Hamilton, finally convinced the unbelieving populace nobody ever believes in these life-threatening disasters that are about to happen. That the big one is about to hit. And the big one, they mean a volcano. They need to evacuate immediately, only to discover her 2 children have gone up the mountain to get their grandmother. With Earth's clock racing against them, they must rescue the kids and grandma before the volcano explodes into a fury of flame and ash 1,000,000 times more than an atomic bomb. Dante's Peak is fun. It's a solid movie. Pierce is a great lead. Great special effects, great visual effects. I always really liked this as a kid. And it's a great, solid disaster movie. I remember the chase, the lava, like the people were outrunning the lava down the hill when they save the grandmother and they're all like trying to escape the pouring lava down the hillside. That was a great moment. And also the city getting completely covered with ash. Awesome moment. Fucking awesome. I like this movie a lot. It's fucking solid.
Let's talk about a really interesting one that I'm not sure many people have even heard of this movie. Out in 2008, starring Mark Ruffalo and Julianne Moore, we have Blindness. This is a cool flick. A city is ravaged by an epidemic of instant white blindness. Those first afflicted are quarantined by the authorities in an abandoned mental hospital. Soon, criminals and the physically powerful prey upon the weak, hoarding the meager food rations and committing horrific acts. There is, however, one eyewitness to the nightmare. A woman whose sight is unaffected by the plague follows her afflicted husband to quarantine. And this really just brings people back to very primitive behaviors, very hierarchical behaviors of having tribes, really, for survival. Violence, we have war, basically. We have battles. We have fighting for food, fighting for resources, and fighting out of fear. It's a really great concept, really well executed. This movie's cool as hell.
It's a solid movie from the director of City of God. His name is, Fernando Mireles. Excellent movie, cool concept. Ultimately doesn't fully meet the potential of the concept, but that being said, it's a fun ride. It's really intense. It's got great characters, excellent acting, and I think it's just a brilliant idea. Like, everybody just starts losing the ability to see. What would that do to a community? It's just a really fantastic disaster film.
Good ending too. Good ending.
It's also very different from anything else on this list.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, nothing's being blown up and the Earth's not exploding, but it's still a disaster, you know? Absolutely. All right, next up, we have probably the grossest, goriest movie on this list. The one that made Eli Roth famous, Cabin Fever, which came out all the way back in 2003. Bert, a college student vacationing with friends in the mountains, and mistakenly shoots a local man with a skin infection while hunting in the woods. That man falls into some water. Panicking, he abandons the scene and leaves the man for dead. When the man stumbles into a reservoir, he infects the water supply, and soon, one of Bert's friends becomes infected. The friends struggle to stop the contagious flesh-eating disease while on the run from a group of Omori backwoods locals out for revenge. This movie is really messed up. It's disturbing. It's gross. It's horribly, like, visceral. It's so raw, but those are all strengths to the film. And Eli Roth came out in a big way with a huge splash, really compounding the era of the torture porn era of really gruesome, disturbing imagery in horror films. This is really, it's a disaster movie because it's actually the beginning stages of a viral outbreak that at the end of the film, if you want a spoiler warning right now, spoiler warning, giving you 2 more seconds. Okay, spoiler warning for Cabin Fever. It ends up becoming much bigger than the film starts out, where the virus spreads to local water supply, which is hinting that this is going to become a huge viral outbreak in the country. It's a really good film, crazy action, good work by all the actors, but really this is a testament to the great special effects work by the makeup team and Eli Roth being like a madman.
Next up, we have a film from 2011. We have Perfect Sense, starring Armie Hammer as well as
Ewan McGregor.
I thought that was Armie Hammer on the poster. Holy crap, that is not Armie Hammer. That's Ewan McGregor. Whoa,
I gotta see this poster. Hold on.
Looks like Armie Hammer from like the profile.
Let me see this poster.
You gotta look at it.
Perfect Sense, 2011. It does kind of look like Armie Hammer for sure.
It got me. And Ava Green. This is about a womanizing chef and a shy scientist who become lovers, and their fledgling romance soon faces a deadly challenge. A viral epidemic causes people to lose their sensory perception.
One sense at a time. It's
cool.
a really cool movie. It's also very romantic, but it's a great concept where people start losing the sense to smell. That's the first sense that goes. Then they lose the sense of taste, and then they lose the sense of more and more after that. I won't spoil anything, but it's really cool. There's some cool moments in this film of like how we would behave and interact if we couldn't taste anything. And at first, it's like not the end of the world that people start losing their sense of smell and taste, but then when the other senses start getting lost, then that's like, holy shit, this is going to have grave consequences for everything. And it's really well performed by both actors. They have a lot of chemistry. It's a very touching film while also being very scary and just a great concept from director David Mackenzie, who also did Hell or High Water, Outlaw King, a fantastic filmmaker. And this is one of his early hits. It's a really, really good movie. If you love those two actors, check it out. They're great together.
Let's do one more, and then we'll head to our intermission.
Sounds good, playa. Next up, we got Deepwater Horizon. Maki Maki is back. 2016 with Peter Berg, his frequent collaborator. Based on a true story, on April 20th, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig explodes in the Gulf of Mexico, igniting a massive fireball that kills several crew members. Chief electronics technician Mike Williams and his colleagues find themselves fighting for survival as the heat and flames become stifling and overwhelming. Banding together, the co-workers must use their wits to make it out alive amid all of the chaos. This is a really great film. Overall, great action, good characters. Kurt Russell is also a co-lead in this movie. Based on true events, they honored the people who lost their lives. It's a gritty, harsh movie. Amazing fire effects for both visual effects and special effects. I think it might be Peter Berg's best film. He's made a bunch of movies. He's worked with Wahlberg a lot. I think this might be the best thing he's done. I think it's just a really overall, really great action movie and survival movie.
All right, well, let's take a break now and head to our intermission. Don't forget to do our surveys for Trover Trip to come on a vacation with us. And before we continue, though, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost Podcast is to become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Why would you want to do this? Because you get access to weekly bonus episodes of the show. We have some coming up. We have Maxine. We have Jujutsu Kaisen. Oh, we have our weekly chat. All of those go exclusively to Patreon members, so only they can listen to them, as well as you get access to the ad-free of every version of every episode, plus awesome other perks, which I don't have time to get into, but I mean, you get access to our Discord, which is really great as well. Another great way to support the show is to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. They help us get seen by new people. They're integral to the growth of our show. Plus, we love reading the written reviews, which I'll get to just a minute on Apple Podcasts. At 5,000, I'm getting a tattoo of Anthony's choice. Let's get those numbers up, everybody. And another great way to support the show, just share us with your family and friends. Word of mouth is the best way for a podcast to grow. Let everybody know that there's a show that you love called Raiders of the Lost Podcast, and that they'd probably dig it.
They would dig it. Next up, our episode, of course, is always sponsored by our friends over at movieposters.com, the number one place to get your posters online today. Be sure to use our promo code Raiders10 right now to get 10% off your order immediately. They have a huge selection of pretty much every movie and TV show imaginable in their poster library, as well as all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs. If you like any of these movies enough to get a poster, the best place to do that is at movieposters.com. To get a gift for the movie lover in your life, you get to go there. These are amazing prints, super high quality, very affordable, even more affordable with our amazing coupon code of Raiders10 to get 10% off your order right now.
Let's begin with our movie quote competition for our intermission. Are you ready?
Ready.
This is 2 characters. Ready? Where did your old man get that ball? I don't know. Some lady gave it to him. She even signed her name on it. Some lady named Ruth. Baby Ruth. Babe Ruth!
The Sandlot.
Yeah.
Good one, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Some lady signed it. Jesus. Oops, that's the character.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of Jesus movies.
Okay. If I was a woodcutter, I'd cut. If I was a fire, I'd burn. But I'm a heart and I love. That's the only thing I can do.
Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah. Jesus. I'm such an idiot. It says the character name and I just said the character name.
Jesus.
But you got it right, man. Congrats.
Andrew Garfield's going to play Jesus.
Yep, Marty's new movie.
Yep.
Just confirmed.
What's it called? Jesus something?
I'm not sure if it has a name.
Jesus Dances with Wolves.
Jesus Rise.
No, it has a title. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. It's actually mostly set present day.
Yeah.
Which is actually, it's cool. So it's gonna be a timeless,
very small budget too.
A timeless interpretation of Jesus.
The something of Jesus. The Trials of Jesus or something? Something like that.
The Life of Jesus.
The Life of Jesus.
Very cool.
Can't wait, man. Apparently he's making it on a very tiny budget.
Yeah.
Just he's making it very personal and intimate.
Sounds really great. I mean, Andrew Garfield as the role of Jesus? Sign me up.
I was wondering why he had a huge beard at Wimbledon, like a massive beard.
Massive beard? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah.
Didn't look that big.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty good beard.
Let me get this.
It wasn't his silence beard.
I didn't say it was a silence beard.
You said huge beard. It just looked like a beard to me.
Wimbledon. Well, it's a big beard.
It's a beard.
All right, it's not that big.
That's like a pretty low beard if I'm being honest.
All right, it's not that big.
It's honestly like 2 weeks.
I overestimated this
You were
beard,
like, he's got this long grizzly beard like Grizzly Adams.
Grizzly Adams. Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
All right, Anthony, guess this movie release year. What year did Mortal Kombat come out?
Mortal Kombat.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm going to say 1994.
1 year off, 95.
Ah, close. Nice.
Close. What was that?
Close. Get out of here, man. You're the Squeak Master. Wait until you hear the opening of this episode.
Squeak Master?
What's your favorite disaster movie? Here we have a list of the best disaster movies ever.
It's a sick burn, honestly. It's a sick burn. I really don't have a comeback to that.
What year did Mississippi Burning come out?
1984.
1988. Pretty close.
Damn.
Not bad.
All right, Anthony, here's a good one. Obviously, Raiders of the Lost Ark was based off a story from Spielberg, Kaufman, and Lucas. But who wrote the screenplay?
You mean Kasdan?
I didn't say Kasdan. I said Kaufman.
Lawrence Kasdan.
Yeah, Lawrence Kasdan wrote the screenplay. There you go.
Okay, gotcha.
There you go.
Oh, you didn't get a story credit? Oh,
No, he got screenplay credit.
got it. Interesting.
There you go.
Thanks. What Spike Lee film is Willem Dafoe in?
Spike Lee film is Willem Dafoe in. Huh.
It's one movie.
One movie. The Century?
This century.
That's a good effing question.
I know it is.
Anthony's been coming
The heat.
with heat at intermission lately. I mean, the freaking Daniel Kaluuya question last episode really stumped me.
This was
really stumped me.
It's a good one.
Willem Dafoe in Spike Lee film.
You know this. You know this. You really like the movie.
Do I?
I guess, yeah. I'm not sure, actually. No, you like it. You like the movie a lot.
I mean, I'm trying to think of a character he would have played. Inside Man. He's a SWAT guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not a SWAT guy, but he's like a lieutenant.
Yeah, he's a
the
cop.
NYPD.
Yeah.
Correct Mundo.
Yeah.
That's it.
Got it.
I knew you'd get it.
Yeah. There we go.
Even though I said you're not going to get it.
His role is kind of small in that movie, but
It's
he's
a tiny role.
yeah,
I think he just wanted to work with Spike.
he's in there. Yeah. He's probably like, hey, you want to film for 3 days? Sure.
Down the street from your house.
With Denzel.
Yeah.
And Chiwetel. Like,
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, you almost got me there.
Hey, you came out, man. You came out on top.
Good question.
Beast mode.
Okay. Who we got for haters this week? Any unsubscribes? What are we working with?
Steven commented on your Kaluuya clip. James has the hat and white shirt from Twisters, but you didn't soak him in water? Unsubscribe.
Yeah, I'm wearing a cowboy hat and a white shirt.
I Chavara on Twisters. I'm normally on the same page with y'all, and I was down, but this movie... I'm sorry.
Reset.
But everything you loved about the movie, I hated. As someone from the South, it felt like it was pandering to a wandering bachelorette party in cheap cowboy boots. That's good.
A wandering bachelorette party. That's fucking great.
Not the
You
worst-
must live near Nashville.
Yeah, I bet. Not the worst movie of the year, but definitely not as good as y'all made it seem. Unsubscribed! But he respects our opinion.
I enjoyed it a lot. I did. That's pretty funny, though.
On our Nightcrawler clip, the only Nightcrawler that matters is Jake Gyllenhaal. Unsubscribed! from Ace Guru. It's a good one. Then we got
That's a good clip you made.
movie news. Rasco wrote, "They're called Heelys, son. Unsubscribe."
Thank you. What do we call them?
Wheelies.
Wheelies.
We kept calling them
The
wheelies.
shoes with the wheels on the bottom.
Yeah, they're Heelys.
What was that in reference to?
Vecna walking so slow.
Stranger Things season 4. Vecna walks so slow. We're like, get him some Heelys.
Oh wait, so someone sent us a DM of a guy. He said, listening to this episode made me think of this. It's a guy from the South just like wearing, like doing tricks with Heelys, like skateboard tricks.
I've probably seen the video.
It was Nate sent it to us, and he's just like doing. I'll show it to you. He's just like doing tricks and just like pretending to grind on rails.
No, he's not pretending to grind. Anthony.
grinding.
He grinded on that. He grinded for real.
So fucking
I've
funny.
seen that. It's super funny account.
Killed me, Nate. Killed me. Next up, Matthew McDonald. Hey, just got back on the Patreon support, and I think I got my I drink your milkshake tier. So glad to support you this podcast, and if you could find another way to leave a review, that would be great. Otherwise, I will have to unsubscribe. Is there another way you can really leave a review, Jim?
You really can only, for public reviews, you can only leave them on Apple. You can just send us a letter if you want.
Send us a letter.
That's really, or like post on Twitter, I guess. But for a public review, Apple
iTunes.
Podcasts
Gotcha.
is the only place that lets you do public
Gotcha.
written reviews.
Thanks for the information.
All you need is you can just sign up with an email address.
I think he already has. He's
Yeah.
just asking anywhere else he can do it.
Yeah, sorry, but if you want, for public reviews, it's the only spot.
All right, next up we got Nick Putman. I promised I'd get him on this episode. I watched the newest Letterboxd recap when my top 4 featured. To answer your question, yes, I saw Godzilla's -1 in black and white once and the colored twice. Also, you guys didn't call me a film boy, so I gotta unsubscribe.
Sorry, film boy.
Nick, you're a film boy.
I always feel bad when we forget film boy.
Yeah, sometimes
Or
we
film
forget.
girl.
But man, if there's ever a film boy, my God, it's you, man. It's you. That's it for our unsubscribes. Good stuff this week, everyone.
We have a great 5-star written review from Iskate Zoo York. Iskate Zoo York. Love the energy.
Aw.
I love the energy of these guys. Feels like a couple of buds I could have some drinks with and nerd out about movies for hours. We could do that.
Have some drinks.
100%. Also, really looking forward to that 5,000 tattoo. Me too. We just gotta get these numbers up, everybody.
Yeah, we need 5,000 reviews.
Yeah, we're almost at 2,000 on Apple.
It's getting close, man.
So we gotta it's getting there.
Getting close.
It's getting there.
It's getting close.
So let's get those numbers up. Everyone's gonna start making some fake emails and let's do this. Anthony, but also as Kate, thank you for leaving that wonderful written review. Thank you so much.
Sweet, so sweet.
My streaming recommendation for this episode is a film on Max, Wanted, starring James McAvoy and Angelina Jolie.
Good one. I haven't seen that in forever.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah. I recommend also.
And I thought of it because, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought of this Office reference the other day where Creed brings up Wanted, and it's that joke where it's if Michael's in a room with Toby, Hitler, and Bin Laden, he'd shoot Toby twice with only 2 bullets. And so everyone's trying to figure out, like, how would you kill all 3 of them with just 2 bullets? And then Creed's like, easy. I would curve the bullet like my favorite James McAvoy film, Wanted.
Great Creed line of the episode. Easy.
But yeah, if you're in a room with Hitler, Bin Laden, and Toby with 2 bullets, I'd shoot Toby twice.
Shoot Toby twice.
It's so fucking funny.
That might be the best Toby one.
It's a good line,
It might
man.
be the best Toby
It's
one.
a good effing line.
Oh my God, that's funny. Shoot Toby twice. All right, oh my God. My recommendation also on Max is A Tale of Summer from Eric Romer. This is a great, awesome, really fantastic French film about young people trying to deal with love and relationships. This guy goes on vacation in a beach town. He misses his girlfriend. He's not sure if they're broken up or not. And then he pursues a bunch of other love interests, just like he's kind of a mess. It's just really incredible dialogue. He's a naturalistic, very truthful and honest filmmaker and writer. And they just always feel like real stories and real people. And I highly recommend checking out his Seasons quadrilogy.
Feels like Elio to me, that character. In
Similar,
a lot of ways.
yeah, it has feeling to
Call him by
Elio.
your name.
Yeah.
Feels like Elio.
Yeah. Yeah, so, there are similarities.
Yeah.
Elio's much nicer, though.
Yeah.
He's kind of a
Very nice.
dick.
Yeah.
But
they
I mean,
dress similar.
Yeah.
Play
yeah,
guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
sort of
yeah,
like
yeah.
wandering.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're both lost artists.
Yeah.
And then great ending. A spoiler alert. He ends up.
Don't spoil it then.
Okay, fine.
Let people watch
An
it.
asteroid hits.
Oh man, that's the joke of the year, man. Oh man. Oh, that was good, man.
It's on our list now. Eric Romer made a disaster movie.
That's good, dude. All right, let's get back into our episode of disaster movies. And if you feel it, chase it. Let's talk about Twisters. Obviously, 2024, this year, one of the best films of the summer and of the year, honestly, starring a hot cast, directed by Lee Isaac Chung.
Particularly one hot cast.
Oh, my God. Glenn Powell with a white t-shirt, man. Jesus Christ, this fucking guy. Fucking, this guy, dude. Fucking so attractive. Daisy Edgar Jones, Anthony Ramos, David Cornsweet. I thought I was going to get pregnant. If they kissed at the end, I would have gotten pregnant. This movie's fantastic. We did a whole episode of it on Monday. It's an absolute banger. So happy for its success. 80 million opening weekend domestic.
Million. Yeah.
It really needed it because Deadpool's coming out. But my God, what a fucking hit, man.
It's awesome. And it deserves to be this high on the list. You wanted to put it like top 5. I was like, hold your horses, man. Take it easy. I know you really like it. Take it easy with top 5, man. Holy shit. It's a great movie. It deserves it. We have it in our top 15 or 20. So,
hey, at least I didn't try to put a movie with a dead car battery in it. That's the disaster.
What's that movie?
Stalled.
Just lying. Straight up lies.
That sounds like a
stalled out. The dead car battery. That's pretty good, man.
Then they made a sequel. Stalled again.
You thought it was over. Guess what? Stalled the third time.
It won't start.
Battery origins. When did they get that battery?
Is it the carburetor? Oh, man.
Oh, man. All right. Next up, we have our first Spielberg movie, War of the Worlds.
You could have a lot on here.
Yeah, you could have a ton on here. Dock worker. Sorry.
Are you good?
Stalled.
Still got him.
Shit, I'm crying.
It's a good title. I was quick with that one, too.
Stalled. Dead car. You made me think for a second. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Oh, man.
That's high comedy right there, man.
Okay.
It's still in him.
Dock worker Ray Ferrier struggles to build a positive relationship with his 2 children, Rachel and Robbie, who are just assholes. They suck. When his ex-wife Marianne drops him off at his house, it seems as though it will be just another tension-filled weekend. However, when electromagnetic pulses of lightning strike the area, the strange event turns out to be the beginning of an alien invasion, and Ferrier must now protect his children as they seek refuge. One of the most recent adaptation of the War of the Worlds novel, except for the TV show. Never mind. This is an awesome movie. The spectacle, the action, the stunts, the fucking set pieces, visual effects. It's really scary at times. He goes into some horror territory right here. Tom Cruise is a fantastic lead. Amazing directing, like always, from Spielberg, with a ton of wonders and just fucking perfect camera work from Janusz Kaminski. Lots of great long takes. The first attack is still, I think, one of the best alien attacks ever put on film, of him running away from and escaping the emergence of the first tripod that we see.
I concur.
And
what's so funny?
Sorry, I'm just still giggling. Because you were just smiling at me and you said, I concur.
Yeah, I did that to throw you off.
You were doing a sly smile. I concur. Oh my God, War of the Worlds is amazing. Amazing first half. It does lose some steam, and ultimately the third act is just kind of not really propulsive in terms of narrative. They get captured, and then it's really just waiting until it's all over. And so it does kind of just end. That's the only real problem with the film that holds it back from being in our top 15.
It's so well made, though.
Yeah, it's great.
Also, don't watch this on a plane that has turbulence. You will shit your pants.
You did that, right?
Oh, yeah. Bad idea. Yeah, but it was like being in 4DX, except way worse.
Which scene was it?
The opening scene.
Oh my God.
I was like, the plane was fine. I downloaded War of the Worlds. It was on Prime. I'm like, I'm ready to go. This flight's I'm gonna cruise by. It was like a 2.5 hour flight. I'm gonna watch this movie, fly by, pun intended. And then turbulence started hitting, and I kept going with it, man. But man, my heart was pounding.
You're like, I might die, but this is really working.
Turbulence doesn't freak me out ever, except for when I was watching War of the Worlds at the same time. All right, next up we have from 1995. We have Stalled When a Car Battery Dies. Just kidding. We have Outbreak. A dangerous airborne virus threatens civilians and civilization in this tense thriller after an African monkey carrying a lethal virus is smuggled into the U.S. An outbreak occurs in California. To control the spread of the disease, a team of doctors is brought in that includes a contagious disease expert played by Dustin Hoffman and his ex-wife Renee Russo. Once the army intervenes to handle the situation, though, the doctors must fight against the clock to save the town and its residents. Really solid Contagion film. Dustin Hoffman's awesome. Renee Russo, really great. It's a really good one, man.
It's a really good one, man.
Yeah.
Monkeys. Can't trust them monkeys, man.
They got stuff going on, man.
Next up, we have The Towering Inferno, which came out
a banger.
in 1974, starring two of the coolest actors of all time, Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. Sorry.
The coolest actor alive, Steve.
I'm a mess.
What?
I'm a mess.
I broke Anthony, guys.
I can't even think. Classic 1970s disaster movie about a fire that breaks out in a state-of-the-art San Francisco high-rise building during the opening ceremony, attended by a host of A-list guests. An overworked fire chief and the building's architect, played by McQueen and Newman, must cooperate in the struggle to save lives and subdue panic, while a corrupt, cost-cutting contractor tries to evade responsibility for the disaster. Awesome stunt work. Cool as hell characters, a little romance, great fire stuff, amazing practical effects, and it's overall just a really thrilling, fun ride. If you love Die Hard, this is the movie that did it first, really. Just no terrorists, obviously, but
Fire's the terrorist.
that's how they sold Die Hard, by calling it like a Towering Inferno, but with terrorists. But it's a great, great film.
It's one of those movies from back in the day when you watch, you're like, this was not safe. This could not have been a safe set. There's so much fire in this movie. So many explosions, so many freaking little things going off.
So many little
many
things.
pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
With actors so close. I'm like, I feel like someone got hurt in this movie.
Not those two, though.
Let's talk about another great disaster movie. Oh, yeah. The Host from 2006 out of South Korea. Careless American military personnel dump chemicals into South Korea's Han River. Several years later, a creature emerges from the tainted waters and seeks its ravenous jaws into local residents. When the creature abducts their daughter, a vendor and his family decide that they are the only ones who can save her. What an epic film. It was on Prime for years and years and years. You showed this movie to me back in the day.
I saw it in theaters, playa.
Yeah.
This is my first ever exposure to South Korean cinema. And it was just incredible. The visual effects still kind of hold up, but they were really mind-blowing when they first came out of The Monster. This is just an all-time monster movie just in general, but it is a disaster movie because the monster wreaks havoc all over the city. It's a great cast of characters. What's also really cool is it takes place over like a long period of time. And it's just a really wonderful horror film.
Bong Joon-ho film.
Bong Joon-ho film, baby. Oh, yeah. And he crushed it. Great movie. Has a lot of meaning. In depth around it. It's more than just a monster movie, but actually has something to say. And it's just a really fun, crazy action movie. I highly recommend checking it out. Next up, we have Take Shelter from 2011.
We got in a fight over this one before.
We're keeping it in.
We got, well, not a fight, a debate of whether or not to have it.
Curtis LaForge lives in a small Ohio town with his loving wife, Jessica Chastain, and hearing-impaired daughter. Though money is tight, he and his family are very happy. But then, Curtis begins having terrifying dreams about an apocalypse that threatens them all. Rather than confiding in Samantha, he begins building a storm shelter in the backyard, and his strange, erratic behavior causes tension in their marriage and the surrounding community. So Michael Shannon's character Curtis, he's having these crazy visions and dreams about a huge apocalyptic disaster storm tearing apart the earth, ruining his community, and
killing all the car batteries.
stalling every battery in sight.
Every car gets stalled. Like
Not a single battery survived. And so he, out of his anxiety and belief in it actually being a vision of the future, he ends up spending all of their money and spending an insane amount of time building a bomb shelter in the backyard, which confuses his wife. It causes so much tension between them. And also, he has a history of schizophrenia in his family. His mother is in a mental institution for schizophrenia. And the community thinks he's going mad. Spoiler alert. Spoil this movie, because I gotta explain why it's on this list.
There's a storm coming! There's a storm! And ain't not a one of you is ready.
It's on this list because the storm comes, baby! The disaster arrives, so it counts. It's a great movie, too.
It's phenomenal.
Phenomenal movie.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
I still don't think it should be on this list.
I put it on the list.
I still disagree because the storm comes at the end of the fucking movie.
But is there a disastrous event in the film?
I guess.
You guess, or
It just looks like a
yes or no question? Is there a disastrous moment in the film?
Not really. You don't see any destruction. You see a storm in the distance.
Yeah, is that the storm?
Maybe it's over some plains, over some empty fields.
Come on, you watched this movie. Hold on, when you saw this movie and that ending happens, you were like, "Oh, it's just a storm."
No, yeah, the storm's coming.
The storm.
Yeah,
the storm that he saw.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
gonna
for sure.
destroy everything.
That's the storm.
So that counts. Disaster storm.
I disagree.
Well,
I think we have to put it to a vote.
We're gonna put it in a vote. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a poll in Spotify.
On Spotify. Everyone vote. Should Take Shelter be? Is it a disaster movie or is it not a disaster movie? Anthony thinks it is.
Yes.
I think it's kind of a disaster movie, but shouldn't really be on this list.
It's on the list, baby.
But it's an awesome movie if you've never seen it. It's an awesome, awesome movie. Jessica Chastain's in it. Also, she's really great.
I said that.
Next up, we have Society of the Snow, which is the remake, the new version of the Alive from 1993 of the Uruguayan flight crashing in remote heart of the Andes, forcing survivors to become each other's best hope, based on true events. This one just came out on Netflix last year. Give it a watch. It's really great.
Yeah, really fantastic, and overall more accurate and truthful of the actual story. It wasn't. The first film was much more fictionalized. Next up.
Yeah, there was no car battery at all. That went dead in that one.
Next up, we have a Christian Bale film. Rate of Fire. Came out 2002. In present-day London, James approves.
This one's good.
12-year-old Quinn watches as his mother awakens an enormous fire-breathing beast from its centuries-long slumber. 20 years later, much of the world has been scarred by the beast and its offspring. As a fire chief, Quinn is responsible for warding off the beasts and keeping a community alive as they eke out a meager existence. Into their midst comes hotshot American Van Zandt, played by the one man who could play Van Zandt, Matthew McConaughey, who says he knows a way to kill all of the beasts.
This movie's awesome. I allowed it because the disaster happens in the movie.
That's why I put it on the list.
Yeah, it happens in the first act, in the first 20 minutes.
It's a great dragon movie. It's the best dragon movie.
Yeah, there's not many.
There's not many.
Dragonheart,
and then
How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon. Rate of Fire.
Someone needs to make a Spyro movie. I would see a Spyro movie.
Spyro movie would be kind of cool, yeah. I mean, dragon movies, there aren't that many. Because it's hard to get a huge budget. Dragonheart, yeah. Fire and Ice. I don't know. Yeah,
This movie's really, really good. I really enjoyed this film.
Oh, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. This is an awesome movie. We fucking loved it as kids. We watched this all the time when we were younger. Saw it in theaters. It still holds up. It's not perfect. It's not the best movie in the world, but it's fucking awesome. And it rips.
And they're ripped unnecessarily. Christian Bale and McConaughey have no business being this jacked in a post-apocalyptic world where they're eating nothing but tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes and cabbage, but they're fucking shredded.
Shredded.
McConaughey, this is the movie where I was like, McConaughey is an amazing actor.
Yeah, he's awesome in this.
He's fantastic in this movie. And Van Zandt is such a cool character, and he's like the ultimate badass, but he really brought it. Him and Christian Bale. I would love to see them match up again in a film.
Yeah,
because they really feed off each other well.
They do. It's a great plot too, where dragons have basically taken over the earth, and their plan is to kill the mother dragon so that no more dragons can be birthed. And it's a good plan.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
There's only one female dragon.
Yeah.
So if they kill that, they all will die. But I mean, I love Rain of Fire.
It's pretty badass. Badass movie. Moving on to 1996, we have the OG. Twister. We all know Twister. Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, this terrific film. Also, Cary Elwes. It's obviously the new one basically is the same blueprint of this, just new tech, new characters. And I think the 1996 one, I still got to see the new one again to tell which one I like more. I love Twister, and we did an episode on it 2 months ago in prep for Twisters. I forgot how fun it was. I hadn't seen it in 2 decades, man. That movie is a blast. Great adventure. Feels like a Spielberg movie, even though it's not. Produced, of course, by him. But really, really excellent film. I loved it.
I loved it, too. Love. Next up, we have a firefighter film, Only the Brave, with an incredible cast from director Joseph Kosinski, starring Josh Brolin, Miles Teller, Jeff Bridges, Jennifer Connelly, Taylor Kish, James Badger Dale, Andy McDowell, a bunch of other actors. Through hope, determination, sacrifice, and the drive to protect families and communities, the Granite Mountain Hotshots become one of the most elite firefighting teams in the United States. While most people run from danger, they run toward it, watching over lives, homes, and everything people hold dear, while forging a unique brotherhood that comes into focus when one fateful fire in Yarnell, Arizona strikes. It's about forest fighters, and the true life story of one fire that got so out of control ended up having disastrous consequences.
Yeah, it's a tough watch.
It's a really difficult watch. It's tragic. It will make you cry, but you fall in love with these characters. And we got a great early performance from Miles Teller coming out of Whiplash, and then a couple.
It's not early. Whiplash is 09, bro.
Yeah, I guess Only the Braves
This
2017.
is like 3 years before Maverick.
Yeah, actually, fucking A.
He was just a baby in this one.
Little baby Miles Teller.
He's 7 years old.
Little Miles, little Milo, and little Miles.
He got younger after Whiplash.
Shut up.
Early performance, this guy.
It's probably the best firefighter movie ever made.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's really
I
great.
was crying for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Obviously based off a true story, so y'all know what happens. And it's
car
really,
stalls.
the car stalls. It's the story where everything goes wrong. And it's a disaster film. They're trying to put out this fire. It starts off like any other fire they put out, but everything goes wrong. The winds change. Comms go down. It's horrible. It's terrible. Man, it's a tough watch, but it's really good.
Directed by Joseph Kosinski right before he did Maverick, and it's a phenomenal film.
Taylor Sheridan wrote it, right?
I believe so.
Or did he write that other fire one?
What's the other fire one?
The one with Angelina Jolie.
Oh, I Am the One or something?
I Am the Fire.
Sean Flynn wrote this. I Am the Fire.
Yeah, he wrote the other one. Taylor Sheridan.
What's it called?
I Am the Fire. I just made that up.
It's something like that.
No, it's not.
What is it called?
Hold on.
Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he wrote that one. It's way off.
You're way off.
Way off. I Am the Fire.
He directed it.
Those Who Wish Me Dead?
Yeah.
Cool.
Why don't you take it away with the next one?
I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, baby. And I don't want to miss a thing because even when I try, the sweetest things will never do. I still miss you, baby. We're doing Armageddon. That was good.
That was...
I don't know about good. I don't know. I fucking hit that note, bro.
You look so confident. You look so satisfied. You're like, that was awesome.
I hit that note, man. I don't care what you say.
The thing is, we always sound better than we think we sound better than we are, Jim.
No, I know. But for not being a singer, I fucking nailed that. I nailed that.
That was good.
For a karaoke performance.
I felt like for a moment you contemplated pursuing a musician career.
Nah, not anymore, man.
For a split second. No, while you were singing
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah, while I was singing it, yeah. I thought maybe I could win American Idol.
You gotta sing that song, too.
Just like that. You gotta get off the mic when you're singing, bro.
You were piercing my ears.
No, you were piercing your own ears. I was back here.
I stopped singing and you were piercing my ears, motherfucker.
No, but you were like...
you were right there.
You were right there.
You were right. I stopped singing and I couldn't even hear because you're screeching in my ears.
Anyways,
this fucking guy.
We're supposed to be talking about Armageddon, Anthony. We're supposed to be talking about Armageddon. Billy Bob Thornton.
Talk about it.
Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, Ben Affleck. There's a giant asteroid coming for Earth. An asteroid.
It's not just an asteroid. It's a meteor asteroid.
An asteroid. A meteor asteroid is coming to collide with Earth. Anyways, if it hits Earth, we all die. So they have to go. They send oil drillers to the asteroid to put a nuclear bomb inside of it to blow it up before it hits Earth. We've all seen it a million times.
Classic
banger from the 90s.
Does it make sense? No. Is it awesome?
Yes. How much money did this movie make?
Like $700 million or something?
Let's see. Armageddon. Armageddon box office. Man, I can't spell it at all. 550.
550. Yeah, big hit.
It's really, really good.
1998. It's a lot of money. Michael Bay directed it. Armageddon. All right, next up, we have a Will Smith film. I Am Legend, all the way back in 2007. Robert Neville, a scientist, is a survivor of a man-made plague that transforms humans into mutants. He wanders alone in New York City, calling out for other possible survivors, and works on finding a cure for the plague using his own immune blood. Neville knows how he is badly outnumbered and the odds are against him, as the infected wait for him to make a mistake that will deliver Neville into their hands. Now, this is a post-apocalyptic dystopian film, but we also see the disaster take place. So hence it being on this list. So it counts.
Yeah, what's interesting is they're making a sequel where the ending of this movie, they're just going to be like, yeah, that didn't happen.
Don't worry about it, guys.
Don't worry about that ending. We're going to change it.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Really terrific. Will is awesome in this. Just a lone survivor in New York City. It's scary, it's dark, but also entertaining and funny at the same time. But
it's one of the best there is.
It's up there.
Yeah, and we're in the top 10, by the way.
Yeah.
This is the top 10.
Yeah, next up we have a great found footage disaster movie. We have Cloverfield from 2008 from Matt Reeves. I don't know if y'all know he directed this movie because he did. As a group of New Yorkers enjoy a going-away party, little do they know that they will soon face the most terrifying night of their lives. Their car batteries will be dead.
Nice one.
A creature the size of a skyscraper descends upon the city, leaving death and destruction in its wake. Using a handheld video camera, the friends record their struggle to survive as New York crumbles around them. This is a terrific film. One of the better, if not best, found footage movies of the century. It's terrifying, great special effects and visual effects. It's just great filmmaking, and I think Matt Reeves just killed it with this huge hit, over $150 million at the box office.
Whoa, fucking A. Honestly, I think this is the best found footage movie. I think it's really smartly made. The visual effects are fantastic. Also, Cloverfield had such a great marketing campaign of they just teased. They didn't explain what it was. You just started seeing this found footage playing as a trailer. And then the attack on the city, and then we got like half a second of like a monster screaming, and then it cut to black, and everybody was like, "What the fuck is this movie?" The internet was like alive with this. Everyone was like speculating what this could be.
We were on MySpace saying, "Hey,
have you seen this trailer?
Look at this trailer.
What is Cloverfield?
Have you been on YouTube yet?"
So it was just a really wonderful campaign by the entire department, making audiences get really excited for this film that nobody knew anything about. Produced by J.J. Abrams. It's a really great found footage film. Great disaster movie. All right, next up we have The Day After Tomorrow. In 2004, after climatologist Jack Hall is largely ignored by the UN officials, another one ignored. When presenting his environmental concerns, his research proves true when a superstorm... I just always think about the South Park episode. Developed, setting off a catastrophic natural disasters throughout the world, trying to get his son Sam, who is trapped in New York with his friend Laura and others. Jack and his crew must travel by foot from Philadelphia, braving the elements to get Sam before it's too late.
Pretty good movie.
This is a solid movie. Great special effects. Took the world by storm, and it's a huge box office. The Day After Tomorrow ended up grossing. Let me see. 125. Its budget was 125 million, and then its box office was Hold in there. 600 million.
The marketing campaign was great because they sort of emulated the Planet of the Apes OG movies, except with Frozen over New York City with the Statue of Liberty and everything like that.
And this is a great example of huge sets and an amazing production. Yes, there's a shit ton of visual effects, but they built a lot of what you see. Like, they built these huge New York sets. They built New
York City for this movie.
They built New York City. Lots of stalled cars. They built the library sets, and I really loved this movie. I really enjoyed it. Is it scientifically accurate? No freaking way. But still, it's a lot of fun, and also, like, they're trying to get a message across with the movie. You know what I mean?
Great stakes as well.
Yeah, great stakes, and the father-son dynamic. Emmy Rossum ignoring Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, it's got everything you need in a movie.
The next one we got is a great one. I love that this is on this list. We're talking about Crawl from 2019. When a massive hurricane hits her Florida town, young Haley ignores the evacuation orders to search for her missing father, Dave. After finding him gravely injured in their family home, the two of them become trapped by the rapidly encroaching floodwaters because the levee breaks, right? With the storm strengthening, Haley and Dave discover an even greater threat than the rising water level. A relentless attack from a pack of gigantic alligators. What a fucking cool movie. This movie's terrifying. It's so well made. The suspense is palpable. Great nonlinear storytelling in terms of her being an athlete, a swimming athlete, and her father was her coach, and sort of all of these lessons that he taught her, she's putting into effect and using to survive against alligators. It's awesome, guys. You gotta watch this movie if you've never seen it. Can't recommend Crawl enough.
It's criminally underrated. It was highly successful, earning $91 million at the box office on a budget of $15 million. However, it has a 6.1 rating on IMDb.
Damn low.
I think this movie is phenomenal. It's clearly one of the most underappreciated, underrated horror films in recent memory. Kyle Scodelario is great. Barry Pepper is great.
He plays her dad.
Yeah, he plays her dad. It's a bare bones, gritty thriller. The alligators are fantastic, both practical and visual effects wise, but there's a lot of practicality involved. And I'm telling you, there's some fucking big jump scares in this movie. I was like floored by it. I was so surprised.
Lights off.
Yeah.
This movie. Whew.
It's really scary, and they did an excellent job with this film. I don't understand. I'm honestly, this is a film where I'm pretty confused about why audiences don't really like it, being a 6.1 on IMDb. I just think that they knocked it out of the park with this. It's in our top 10. It's a really enjoyable experience, and I think it's just a great monster movie. It's fantastic. All right, next up, we have, in 2013, The Impossible, based on a true story.
Based on the burger, right?
The Impossible Burger. On December 2004, close-knit family Maria, Henry, and their three sons begin their winter vacation in Thailand. But the day after Christmas, the idyllic holiday turns into an incomprehensible nightmare when a terrifying roar rises from the depths of the sea, followed by a wall of black water that devours everything in its path. Though Maria and her family face their darkest hour, unexpected displays of kindness and courage ameliorate their terror. This is an incredible film. Very powerful filmmaking and excellent lead performance from Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor, who play the parents. This is a great director, J.A. Boyonia, who also directed The Side of the Snow, The Orphanage, A Monster Calls. Excellent filmmaker. This has some of the most striking imagery you've seen in disaster films. Incredible special effects and visual effects. The CGI is absolutely remarkable in this movie. And it's based on a true story where this gigantic storm just came out of nowhere and wreaked havoc upon the entire land.
All of the land.
Tom Holland. I think this was his breakout role.
Baby Spider-Man.
Baby Spider-Man.
It's like 12 in it or something.
Yeah, he's fantastic in this early role in his career. It's very gut-wrenching and tragic and inspiring. Overall, it's just a phenomenal disaster film. One of the best on this list for sure.
Now, next up, we have a zombie movie that Anthony convinced me to keep on.
Yes.
You know, my argument was if we put a zombie movie on here, we have to introduce all zombie movies. Like, you try to put Wreck on here. If you put Wreck on here, you got to add Shaun of the Dead. You got to do Night of the Living. You got to do every goddamn zombie movie. You got to do freaking Dawn of the Dead. You do both of them. So, but he convinced me that World War Z, which came out in 2013, has so many elements of a global disaster film that it makes sense to add on. Because it does. You know, this movie shows destruction on massive levels from hordes of zombies, the fastest, most terrifying zombies we've ever seen. And because of that, plus destruction of cities, we have plane crashes in this film. The sequence of the helicopters trying to stop the zombies from taking over Israel is crazy.
Yeah.
It's fucking bonkers.
Fucking insane.
This movie I think...
the thing is, entire cities are destroyed in minutes. So I think it absolutely qualifies as not just a zombie movie, but also it can stand on its own as a disaster film.
The opening sequence, it feels like attack from a disaster movie, an attack from an enemy or something. So because it feels so much like a disaster movie, unlike many other zombie flicks, we kept it on here.
I want to watch this again soon.
It's a
I really
banger.
like this movie.
Huge hit.
I think it's one of the best zombie movies. And the visual effects and holy shit, what a fucking film. It's a really good banger of a movie. And Brad Pitt's a perfect lead. It's an exciting film, and it was unexpectedly good. You know, it's a tough book to adapt, and they did a solid job, I think.
Yeah, it almost has nothing to do with the book.
Yeah, almost nothing.
Besides military fighting zombies.
Okay, we're in the top 5, guys. We're into the top 5 best disaster movies. And we're going to take it away at number 5 with Independence Day in 1996. In the epic adventure film Independence Day, strange phenomena surface around the globe. The skies ignite. Terror races through the world's major cities. As these extraordinary events unfold, it becomes increasingly clear that a force of incredible magnitude has arrived. Its mission, total annihilation on the 4th of July weekend. The last hope to stop the destruction is an unlikely group of people united by fate and unimaginable circumstances. Roland Emmerich's best film really rejuvenated the Hollywood blockbuster, the summer blockbuster, and made disaster movies really hot because of Independence Day. Huge hit. Massive spectacle, huge scope, amazing cast. Will Smith solidifying his status as the star of the future with this film. Jeff Goldblum is also great in this film. Amazing cast of characters. I love it. The narrative does a good job of balancing an ensemble really well and seeing different parts of the destruction of the alien arrival and then attacks. And it's got good comedy, great visual effects, awesome stakes, excellent one-liners, and then one of the most memorable, iconic monologues of all time. Independence Day.
Let's move on to Alfred Hitchcock. 1963, he made The Birds. The Birds is an excellent disaster film. And to set it up, we have Tippi Hedren, who is in this pet store in San Francisco, and she meets this hunk. And she lies to him a few times. She's sort of like...
stalks him.
She's a bit of an oddball where she lies to him about stuff. They make jokes about lovebirds. He's getting a gift for his younger sister, of like 30 years, by the way.
This is the 60s, bro.
And then, as a joke, because she also is intrigued by him and likes Mitch, she finds out where he lives, goes there, gets 2 lovebirds, breaks into his house, leaves them there. It's a lot cuter than it sounds. And then surprises him basically with these lovebirds and kind of watches his reaction from inside of a little boat on a lake. Then they start to strike up this romance. He offers for her to stay over the weekend, but she keeps getting into this lie of like, oh, I'm here just visiting a friend who they all know.
I'm too cool for you.
Yeah, I'm staying with what's her name down the street. As she's in this small town, this little lake town, things start to happen. Birds start hitting people out of nowhere, and they seem like they're attacking people, but some people don't believe it. The town are like, God, that's ridiculous. Until the birds all start to target the humans and start attacking them with flocks of birds all over the place. They blow up a fucking gas station. They're attacking people out in the open. They're attacking people indoors. It's a crazy movie. The filmmaking is astounding. An awesome final 30 minutes and a great conclusion. And it's got to be seen to believe because some of the filmmaking, I just don't know how Hitchcock pulled it off back in the 60s. It's really great. Terrific film. Got to check it out.
It's a fantastic movie. Another fantastic movie is number 3 on our list. 13 Lives from Ron Howard, which came out in 2022. A rescue mission is assembled in Thailand where a group of young boys and their soccer coach are trapped in a system of underground caves that are flooding. This is based on a true story. This is one of the most underrated films of the past decade. Viggo Mortensen actually is out in the news because he basically went after Amazon Prime and calling them out for just sending this film straight to streaming and not releasing it in theaters like they promised Ron Howard they would. And it basically disappeared. Nobody saw it that year, but people have begun to see it. It's got a 7.8 rating on IMDb, a 95% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. This is one of the most suspenseful, thrilling movies I've ever seen in my life. I wish I could have seen it in a theater.
Me too.
This is a movie where there's no other way to watch it. It's just to stream it on Amazon Prime at your house. And even with that, my heart was racing the entire time. It's a 2.5 hour film, but it flies by. And the cast is fantastic. You have Viggo Mortensen, Joel Edgerton, Colin Farrell, as well as a lot of great Thai actors. Ron Howard's direction is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the best made movies of his entire filmography. And I gotta say, like, this is just really up there for best films of the 2020s. I really would put it in maybe my top 10, top 15 movies of the 2020s for sure. It's that good of a movie. We talk about it pretty often lately, but it really is that good. I believe the hype that we give it because it's a sensational film, larger than life story. The truth is stranger than fiction kind of thing. When you learn how they figured out how to get these boys out of these tunnels, oh my God! You're just waiting on bated breath watching the events unfold, and it's just a phenomenal film.
Let's get into number 2 on our list from Steven Soderbergh, Contagion, which came out in 2011 and had eerie similarities to what we went through in 2020s from lockdowns and COVID. When Beth Emhoff returns to Minnesota from a Hong Kong business trip, she attributes the malaise she feels to jet lag. However, 2 days later, Beth is dead. And doctors tell her shocked husband that they have no idea what killed her. Soon, many others start to exhibit the same symptoms. A global pandemic explodes. Doctors try to contain the lethal microbe, but society begins to collapse as a blogger fans the flames of paranoia. Great opening because Damon's character's in the hospital, and they're like, your wife says, like, what do you mean she's dead? They're like, sorry, she's dead. She's like, what do you mean she's dead? He, like, can't believe it.
Yeah.
Awesome movie.
He's like, can I talk to her?
Yeah. Terrifying. All-star cast, Matt Damon, Jude Law, Kate Winslet, Lawrence Fishburne, Gwyneth Paltrow, Marion Cotillard, Bryan Cranston, Jennifer L., Dimitri Martin, John Hawkes, Chin Han, Larry Clark. This cast is crazy. Absolutely insane. Terrifying movie. But then it was booming during COVID and lockdowns. This movie was number 1 on Netflix for like 2-3 years straight.
It became the most streamed movie on all streaming in the week of lockdowns.
This movie made a lot of money those couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an awesome film. But then if you've never seen it, watching it now, going back after what we went through, I'm sure it feels so odd.
And they got it right. Like it's extremely accurate, and it's like it's unnerving how similar it portrayed the outbreak of a virus as what really happened and like what caused it, and the forces working to both contain and understand what was happening, and the people in charge and the hierarchical structure of infrastructures and everything. It's an incredibly chilling movie, great ensemble, and man, it's expertly directed by Soderbergh. Fantastic screenplay, and an all-star cast that just like it's just an amazing movie, and it's unbelievable how on the money they were with it.
Yeah, from start to finish, it just lands every way.
Great score from Cliff Martinez. It's just great editing. He manages to make it seamless with all these storylines converging together. All right, next up, our number 1 pick for the best disaster movie of all time. There's a big one that you have not heard. You might be wondering, when were they going to get to this one? James Cameron came out with Titanic in 1997. An epic, action-packed romance set against the ill-fated maiden voyage of the RMS Titanic, the pride and joy of the White Star Line, and at the time, the largest moving object ever built. She was
Besides your mom. Just kidding.
She's your mom, too.
That was just a joke.
She was the most luxurious liner of her era.
That's a good mom joke.
Ship of Dreams, which ultimately carried over 1,500 people to their death in the ice-cold waters of the North Atlantic in the early hours of April 15th, 1912. Great film. Biggest blockbuster of its time. You know, James Cameron just caught the zeitgeist of the entire world with this movie. Incredible filmmaking, great visual effects, really paving the way forward for blockbuster filmmaking, as well as incredible practical filmmaking. Huge sets, great stunt work, incredible water work, amazing cast of actors. Leo and Kate before they became the big superstars they now are. Titanic is just not just the best disaster movie, but it's just one of the best movies in American history for sure.
Still one of the highest grossing movies of all time. I believe it's number 5.
Wow.
At total dollar amounts, not adjusted for inflation, $2.26 billion at the global box office, plus an extra $1 billion in just rental retail video soundtrack sales. So this movie's made billions and billions of dollars outside of just theatrical release.
I can't believe James Cameron's made 3 movies that made over $2 billion.
3 movies.
That's what I said.
You said 2.
I said 3 movies that have made over $2 billion.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't believe it either.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely insane.
But yeah, it's a great movie. Huge stakes and spectacle. And man.
It's a hot movie, too.
Oh, yeah, it's hot. It's steamy.
The romance is so strong.
It works really well.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Twisters, we needed this, man.
You wanted a sweaty car?
Fuck yeah. That would have been sick.
James wanted Glenn with his shirt off.
This movie would not have made $2.2 billion if it wasn't as romantic as it was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the romance
or
sold
intimate,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the romance sold it and really makes the movie work.
Rewatch. I mean, how many people went and saw this movie over and over again?
It's honestly also one of the best romance movies of all time.
I agree with that.
It's up there, man. It's really
special.
good.
People, when you think of romance in films, this is one that people always, I think, go to.
Great cinematography.
Great tragedy.
Iconic score from James Horner. It's really great. Bill Paxton, can't go wrong with him ever. And Titanic is just, I just remember so clearly seeing this movie in theaters and seeing the ship sinking is just one of the craziest sequences ever put on film, still to this day. And man, it's a special movie to make that much money, and to get everybody have everybody watch your movie. It's an amazing thing that he did.
Plus, do you know who the captain of in Titanic is?
It's King. It's the King, Theoden.
Theoden.
King of Gondor, man.
Yeah, he's the captain in Titanic, Bernard Hill.
Yeah.
Passed away a couple of years ago. Actually, passed away this year. I'm sorry.
Great beard.
Yeah, he's the captain that goes down with the ship in Titanic.
He looks like he could have been Santa Claus with that. He's got the white beard and hair in this movie.
He's got a great beard.
Yeah.
But yeah, Titanic is our #1 disaster movie, deservedly so. The most successful, biggest hit, as well as one of the most impressive feats of filmmaking of the last 30 years. Still, Titanic is. It's really incredible. I saw it, I think, a couple of years ago on just a rewatch, and I was still astounded by
we
what
did an
James
episode
Cameron
of it.
pulled it. No, we didn't.
Yeah. Best love movies of all time. We put it in it.
Yeah. No, we didn't. But I just watched it just because, and what a film.
Did you cry?
Yeah, I did.
Aw.
What a picture.
What a picture.
All right, everybody. Let us know if we missed any important disaster films. Don't forget
the
to vote.
poll. What was the poll?
Don't forget to vote to see whether or not you think Take Shelter is a disaster film that should be on this list or not. Yes. Anthony says yes. I say get it out of here. I say no.
You said kind of earlier.
Get it
now
out
you're saying
here.
No? Oh, God. That's what I'm going to put for the poll answer. Get it out of here.
Get it out of here. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Raiders of the Lost podcast. We went long on this one. We were like almost 2 hours here.
Beware of stalled cars, everyone.
Yeah, stalled cars. Thank you so much for tuning in. Become a patron today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost podcast. Sign up and do a survey for our Trova trip experience. Come on vacation with us and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Take care, everybody.
See you next time.
This episode was executive produced by our chosen one patrons, Cody Moen, Andrew Hagan, Becca Keene, Benjamin Cook, Calvin Murphy-Griggs, Nicholas Martin, Darian Singleton, Tyler McFly, Andrew Hagan. Our chosen one patrons are our biggest supporters. Thank you so much. Raiders of the Lost podcast is a mirror image production. Sound mixing done by Jacob Kosler. Opening music by Chase Jackson. Thank you for watching Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well, notifications for sure. Listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, and be sure to check out this other content we have on our YouTube channel.